conversation steep and strong, slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Last all these things in one o'erpowered time that the midnight blossom flowered. The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling roof, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Here's to the heart I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere, thy radiance that rolls afar, O brother of the silver star.
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow. So that thy being be in tune with the great sea's pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observance entity. Watch every thought that springs, enhance hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward miss, no atom of analysis. Sixth on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind, sound like a flame straight out star, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still the ecstasy, prolong thy meditation, steep and strong, slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Last all these things in one overpowered time that the midnight blossom flowered. The oneness is yes, even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling roots, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Pierce the heart, I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere, thy radiance that rolls afar. O brother of the silver star. Crawling.
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in one and 1 in 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid, thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm.
Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity.
Watch every thought that springs, enhance hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inwardness. No atom of analysis, fixed on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind.
So like a flame, straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word.
Next, still that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation steep and strong.
Slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen act.
Last, all these things in one o'erpowered, time that the midnight blossom flowered.
The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss.
If thou restrain the expression shew,
no one thinks that you're racist. I'm sorry, Devon. I'm gonna give it to you, Devon, if you wanted to speak, but no one is coming to the conclusion or illusion that you're racist. No one is having to say, oh my God, everything is just racial. But let's just be honest, people, if we're black people, we know this happened in the state of Mississippi. This is to be expected of black people anyway. But you seem guilty when you make up all the excuses except for you trying to disassociate yourself from ever having any contact with, no, I don't mean to be long with it, but I'll give it to somebody else.
You're good, brother, you're good. I wanted to pass it to Pearlie. Pearlie, you said there's a new theory? Pearlie going once.
Hi. Okay, sorry. So today I heard this theory that everybody is just protecting Bart because he's like the local hometown hero boy, because they're like really pressed on him because he plays football at Wyoming, and like something happened because I guess, you know, Katie and Nolan were together, and that was like Bart's formerly girlfriend or whatever. I don't know if it has any, it's worth its salt. It's just I had never heard that one before. I don't know if anyone else has.
Oh yeah, I've been saying that one, Pearlie, but okay, one sec. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I've been saying it for a while now, but I've been told that it's not true. Bart never dated Katie. It's a big nothing burger, but I said that. And I said boinking, and people was like, what the hell is boinking? Yeah, it's an old school term. Nolan was boinking Katie, and Bart was away at school, so they were kind of like, it was his girl, but not really his girl anymore because he's away. And yes, I have heard that he is headed for the NFL. He's a punter. And I also heard that Bart kind of alleged that he was in Miami. I wasn't even on Horn Island. Come to find out he was. So, I don't know. Again.
They said he never came home. They said he was not even in the state of Mississippi.
Yeah. And then we come to find out that he was.
And he was on the recording. That recording, and one of the clearest things you could hear is, Bart, what the fuck did you do? I think Bart was...
I didn't hear that. Wait, did anyone else hear that?
I heard that. Now, listen now.
What I heard...
We all heard that. Don't do that.
No. We heard, damn it, Bart. We heard, damn it, Bart. Damn it, Bart was what we heard.
Right.
That's it.
What did you do? I heard, what did you do?
No,
I heard what did you do?
Tomato.
Bart was on that goddamn boat. And Bart is the one who probably killed him. And to be honest with you, that part nobody said a goddamn thing about Bart.
Another thing, put too much dip on that chip, totally. Yeah, another thing with Bart, they said that
Allegedly.
Hey guys, real quick. I watch a lot of Law and Order.
Hold on. Who was speaking? Y'all just was that LeBron?
LeBron.
Yeah, man. It's been my cover also at Bart got. And plus they said that he has a history. His family's also in the NFL, so he's one of these real privileged cats. And I think it's a situation where he probably got into a fight with Nolan and ended up, you know, like I'm gonna go back to what the one lady was saying. You know, if it may be an accident, you know, but he fought him, he ended up killing him. And now it's a big cover up because none of the other friends want to go against Bart, you know, because of Mississippi and because, you know, the situation. But I think it's going to end up coming out that Bart killed him. Bart has never heard anything from him. Any type of interview. He's just out of the way.
Interesting. That's a good point, LeBron.
Yeah, real quick. What I was trying to say is, I know the law, and I watch a lot of Law and Order and all that. If somebody has the motive, somebody was with your girl, didn't they hear a voice, the person said your name? I don't care if he said, Bart, what are you doing? Or then Bart, or then Bart, give me my phone. Whatever he said, the guy who said that he was not there was there. He has motive. The no one motive be sex, a girl. And then on top of that, there's so much inconsistencies in the thing where the man didn't have his phone. A team never separates from their phone. So with all these things going on, and then the sheriff come out and say there's nothing to see here, no foul play like in the first quarter, that's ridiculous.
Okay, how long you been a football detective? Who is your lieutenant? Hold on, Toto.
No, we're not quite. No, don't do it, Concrete. We're not questioning people. We're talking about the clip. Let's go.
Another thing.
So the reason why it came out that people were saying that Bart was
Won't be first.
the reason I'm not, we're two different people. The reason why it came out about the Bart and his girl dating is because there was a picture that went viral. But what ended up coming, everybody already identified who that girl was. But there's a bunch of pictures with him with a particular girl that, I mean, someone that looks like her, but they went to high school together and they were dating. It's not Katie, y'all.
You know something I thought about? You know, like when O.J. Simpson was on trial, and all these other folks on trial, you know, there's usually a criminal attorney that will be involved that can bring up the criminal aspect of it. It's interesting to me that Ben Crump is the civil attorney. He's dealing with civil, so he's dealing with that civil suit and some money to get the family paid. But it's very interesting to me that the legal team hasn't gotten a criminal attorney that can handle that criminal side. It's just like they're going from the civil side, but there's no criminal.
Hello?
Yeah, but why isn't there a criminal attorney on this team?
Because why would there be a criminal attorney on his team? He's the victim.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. Being criminal is coming from money for a civil suit to get money for the family. Why isn't there a criminal attorney? Why haven't they secured a criminal attorney that can do the criminal side and bring these guys up and take?
Because the state will do it. The state will do it.
Look.
The state will be the prosecutor.
Yeah. One second. I know you hear me saying 1 second. So I learned today, and many of us learned today, they do have a second, I don't recall his name. Titi, can you help me? Is it Ahmad Smith? I think his name is Ahmad. There's a local attorney they have.
He's been on the team since day one, but that's still separate. So I think that we need to clarify. Representing the family has no criminal dealings. So their attorney is representing their interests. In criminal proceedings, the state brings the case. That would be the prosecutor. And then the defendants hire their own attorney. So the family wouldn't hire someone to prosecute, and they're not going to hire someone to defend the person that murdered their son. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So
I'm glad you clarified that, but I'm just saying, isn't it strange that they aren't coming at these guys? I mean, because as far as lie detectors,
let it go. I don't know why don't show.
I think what this is leaders.
Okay, go ahead.
So Ron, what they could do is hire a private investigator, go about Ron gathering information, and then they could use to present to the prosecutor.
Isn't that one of mine for that in preservation of evidence or something?
What? You're saying to interfere in a state investigation so your whole shit can be fucked up?
That's what it's for.
You're saying
Right.
exactly.
Well,
Lawyers hire PIs all the time.
So-
Come on, Burley. Or you get hired as an attorney. Wouldn't you get a PI to kind of see what they can
Wait, Divine, I think what Pearlie is saying is that, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the idea would be you would hire an attorney to manage the family as well as at the conclusion of any criminal case, any civil case that you might have, but you wouldn't necessarily want the attorney to interfere with the state because of like things like evidentiary rules and the chain of evidence. Like what your attorney, what the family's personal attorney might find may not be admissible in court to the prosecutors because there might not be a link that the prosecution would be able to show that the evidence was not gotten outside of evidentiary rules in Mississippi and the like.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the phone here when
Well said.
Tiana brought up the phone.
well, as a seasoned
What is
clubhouse
going
detective,
on?
as a
So
seasoned
they actually have an attorney that's supposed to be the one that joint forensic playing with the phone.
As a seasoned clubhouse detective, I would having a professional conversation, discussing your avenues of attack, and how I would then take multiple avenues of attack. And of course, the most procedurally
What is
sound
going
way,
on?
because I'm a licensed clubhouse
Negroes.
detective, which
I
means
hate it here.
that while, as you should, which means that while, it means, it's very good, it's very good, which means that while there is
The way you said very ghetto is funny.
He's
Which
dead.
means, hold on, aunties, hold on, aunties. Which means
He's a Negro.
One second, aunties. Which means that while there is a risk of stepping on toes and whatever, would mitigate against that by having a professional courtesy and discussing ideas with.
Just a normal.
You do realize that police departments are like dick measuring contests? So they get upset. So pause. They get upset when the feds come in. When anybody else joint investigation, there's going to be a problem. You think they're letting private investigators anywhere near this? Can y'all be for real right now? Like, this is so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful.
It would be illegal to try to hamper anything that they wanted to do that was well within the boundaries of the law.
Now, Pearlie, you know,
She leaning on one side.
that
Oh no, don't mind
when we
me.
come in,
Just the civil lawyer. Like, what the?
when we
Y'all be killing me.
rooms,
Let's
we
ask
don't
AI.
know if we are conversing with the town drunk, the military, or a genius. So just keep that in mind when some people come up to you.
Alright, but maybe we should have finished the clip. I don't know if Patty still able to play.
Oh my god.
Right, yeah.
You guys said you ended up going and looking for Nolan the next morning, but you said you were thinking about doing it that night.
Yes.
And why didn't you do it that night?
So we already called the Coast Guard at this point. We didn't have access to a boat that was already in the water, ready to go, other than one that I'm just not allowed to use at all. And I was still this close to taking it out. I mean, I was.
So you guys go the next morning, you look for, can you explain how did that happen? Who was looking for Nolan? Who was on the boat? Was it multiple boats?
Multiple boats.
Okay, can you explain that? Who was out of this group? Who was on what boat? Or who was on a boat or not going out looking for Nolan?
So, me, Wyatt, and Trayson got in the boat. We got in the Palm Beach that morning, the morning after, and we rode out to the islands, and we were met by a DMR. It was 7 DMR boats already out there, DMR and park rangers. We talked to them, we gave them all of our information. They personally asked if any of us were on the boat with him that day. We told them yes. They just said, all right, well, when we got the area scoped out, and then after that, we just went up to the beach. I think we met up with y'all in the water.
Took my boat out with Jax.
Yeah.
Couple friends of mine, and then my mom and my stepdad.
They were out there too with you?
Correct. And I just met Morgan and Wyatt and Trayson and his girlfriend out there. And we actually, when I rolled up, I parked up next to Morgan. Everybody was with him, and I was like, well, y'all can run around, or we all planned this out. Morgan was going to run around the south side, but we covered the north side, and we were just going to try to take us, cover as much ground as possible. But, there were so many DMR boats and helicopters and drones and everything else out there. I don't really know what an 18 and a 25-foot bay boat is really going to do. So, we was out there, we went for a couple hours, we looked around and we searched, but we also don't fit the requirement that DMR has, the tools that DMR and United Cajun Navy and all these departments have to look for somebody. We didn't put that much of a help out, but yes, of course, we went out there and looked for a friend. That's not a question.
Who else in the friend group was out there? Did you see Nolan's family? Did you see some of the other kids that showed up at your house? You see anybody else out there?
We did see we met up with a coach that was previously Nolan's high school coach. We met up with him. They said that they had previously already been on the island. They walked a good bit down the island both ways, and they were just driving around the island like we were doing. And we eventually got off the island. We got on this like this rip current. It was going west out towards like Ship Island and then back towards Biloxi. And we drove that for a couple miles. People were also looking on that too. There was multiple boats out there, not associated with BMR, with binoculars. There was people fishing the rip, and we asked them, like, they rode it all the way from Ocean Springs all the way out to Port Island, and we were like, did you see anything, blah, blah, blah. Because, I mean, if a person is floating in the water, treading water, they are going to be most likely in the rip. And that all comes into play with the washing machine. I mean, you got Port Island washing machine for Port Island and Ship Island. I mean, they come like this, and then there's no island right here. So it just tons of water flows through. The tide goes out. I mean, sometimes it gets pretty gnarly in there, and it creates this big old pool, basically. Yeah. And I mean, if someone was floating, treading water out in the water, that's where they would be. They could be hung up. They could grab onto a log and float with a piece of driftwood or something, or they could find a channel marker or buoy and grab onto that. So, I mean, there was just main keys that you search for, like when you're trying to search for a missing person that has to do with water. And I mean, it's either the island, the buoys, or the rip. And then after that, there's not really anything else you can do. Seriously.
And when did you guys communicate with law enforcement? Because the internet, I think, has this false information that you guys never contacted authorities, and that Warren actually talked to me, or you guys talked to me first before you engaged. So when did you guys actually talk to them and give your statements to them?
So as soon as we got off the water from searching for Nolan,
this is on the day of the 5th.
Yeah, the 5th. As soon as we got off the water, I got a phone call. I believe you got a phone call too. I got a phone call while we were out there. I got a phone call too as well. So basically what it was saying was, hey, take a few questions over the phone, answer the questions, and then they had a date for us to come in for actual questioning. And mine was the 6th. There's like the next day or something like that, you know. I think theirs was 2. I don't know. Yeah, mine was 7. I would like to say, but not for sure. Mine was around, regardless. Like, we all cooperated fully. It's not like we had some full cooperation from the start.
How deep did they go in this interview with you guys?
They asked, they asked,
how long was the interview? Like, was it
an hour and a half. I dialed it over, I crossed over. Yeah, I told my friends, like, listen, go in there, like, say every detail, like, even what you, like, ate for breakfast that morning. It doesn't matter everything you have, because, like, anything can help. You literally never know. Like, it's what we all did. Like, we all cooperated. We all wanted to help. We all did everything that we could to help. Like, reverse the situation. It's not like we just, like,
Just real quick, isn't it interesting that they dotted every I, crossed every T, but none of them can answer exactly which date they were?
No, I was like, but I just, it's like, look, the laws of physics being what they are on my analysis, where it's like, this is just saying, if you left the physical stuff alone, here's what it would do. That's all still true. And these universes with deviating constants where God, like, poofs the bunny around. None of that is false. And you might even think, you might say, like, well, isn't the bunny rabbit like a supernatural entity at that world? And it's like, yeah, maybe. Maybe. But so what, you know?
Yeah, not so much.
That's the semantic. Yeah, that's kind of the semantic. Where it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait. I might come back to that, but I just want to say, probably more likely what they're going to say about this is that, yeah, okay, there are all these options, perhaps, for how you might get life, either on design, not design, and there are more of them than, like, you might think there are, just looking at which ones are quote-unquote life-permitting in this sense that they describe. Okay, because you could get life or complex structures. At other sorts of
or anything.
Yeah.
Actually, the way I read it was just into like, yeah, there's a feature where it's like basically the constants can't stop God from giving them stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But I suspect what they would say, and I'm sure Miles would say this, but I don't necessarily want to put words in the mouth, is that true? But if you look at the likelihood that you would get that value at non-design worlds, even taking into account that their value or whatever could obtain it, whether not like making the sense, it's still going to be way smaller likelihood that you would get value at design worlds, even though the design world could achieve it by.
That's where you move into the. Wait, so
yeah.
When I first run the argument, what I want to do is get to the relative likelihood premise being false from the original fine-tuning argument and say, okay, well, if God is indifferent across the constants because like life-permitting constants are neither.
They're not going to want to say he's indifferent across the constants because
right. So that's still. Yeah. Then they're still in the first stage of the argument because for me the idea is to do it as like they want to run it. The more sophisticated people want to run the argument as like value selection, okay. And I want to say, okay, but then we can talk about, on theism, what is the value of the constants falling in this range, where like structures could form if you left the physical stuff alone, right? So the idea is like that there isn't actually a reason to think that would be especially valuable in it's true, like omnitheism or perfect being theism or classical theism. And the reason is because constants like that are neither intrinsically valuable nor are they in any sort of sensible way like instrumental to other things of value like God by one machine, right? Because
no, but they're gonna deny it. So like they're usually gonna say something like, no, but it is valuable to have constants and loss like that because having a sort of regular, more or less predictable world and
yeah, but arguing you would still actually a regular world is already background because all the worlds are regular. They all have the same law structure. They just have different constants. Which presumably you could learn if God gave you the right epistemic boundaries. Right?
They have to be fairly irregular, at least when it comes to the realization of these valuable things, right? If we're talking about worlds which are not life-permitting, but nevertheless life obtains, or something else.
It depends what you mean, because like they might be recognizable as supernatural or miracles or something like that. Maybe not perfectly, like so you would still be able to have credences associated with that, or as opposed to certainty. But yeah, I mean, like you might be able to recognize that they're great miracles, but I don't like this. Why does the scale of the miracle matter? Like I don't know.
Take the case where it's like I don't know given the actual laws and values of the constants, maybe the cosmological constants, too high and everything.
Yeah, like say it's something like this, like you have the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a big miraculous bubble, and so for like most of human history, it's everything's exactly the same. The night sky was exactly the same, blah blah blah. And then like we only realize these things about the broader universe like much later. Like oh, the constants are like this.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of thing that I'm imagining. So I was imagining that like he has everything else was falling apart, but then for some reason he set up like the solar system or perhaps the galaxy, and then like the Garden of Eden or whatever. And that's so. How plausible is that sort of creation conditional on theism or whatever the sort of value directed design? Well, is that comparably kind of likely or expected to something like? Well, it didn't make them sort of discontinuous in this way. It was just all part of a more or less regular universe, in the way that we actually think of it. I think there's a case maybe that it's not sort of unnecessarily more complex, and at least it makes things epistemically more inaccessible to us. Like, it might be hard to tell like what's going on apart from the little bubbles. I don't know. Like, I guess it's, of course, it's possible. And so you should just discount it altogether. But
well, the point for me is just like, okay, you know, unless somebody can draw this kind of instrumental connection between the constants taking certain values and something valuable to God, where it's like, okay, and I'm not being strict here about instrumental. You know, I don't mean like, you know, it requires it or something like that. Maybe just even some explanation of how it's the best available like means. Because like, and that's even granting too much to an omnipotent God too, right? Because it's like, okay, if it's a means to an end, like he's omnipotent, like that. You know? But okay, maybe I grant that. Okay, there's value in certain ways of doing things or something like that. You know? Why this, you know, and it kind of falls under the umbrella of like, why does it seem, even just granting all their like divine hiddenness apologetics, okay, why is like naturalism this like epistemic screen that God chooses to use? Why is this like the veil where it's like, it looks like naturalism that you use, you know? It could have easily looked like naturalism was false. Like, it could have been wizards, all kinds of, I mean, maybe we want to haggle about statistics and naturalism, but like, you know, could have been living in Harry Potter or something, you know? And it's like, okay, of all the worlds that, you know, God would still be just as hidden in worlds like that, where it was kind of clear naturalism was, right? You know? So I don't know, there just seems to be this weird bias that because the evidence is sort of compatible with naturalism, that just becomes the foil, the epistemic foil of God he's hiding. You know, like I just find that strange. I don't know how to put that in a kind of, you know, forceful way in a debate, you know, but I wish something.
Maybe.
But the other area that causal interference stuff comes up is I think that there's like a skeptical argument against interactionism in Phil's mind, where it's like, okay, you know, you have the old school interaction problem, but then you have like an epistemic version of it where it's like, how do you know that the stuff, so you have this stuff from physics, right? These regularities in physics. How do you know that those are not just the result of causal interference? You know, and it could be systematic causal interference between physical and non-physical stuff. But the idea is like, until you tell me why I should think that the interaction is kind of localized to the brain, you know, you have to like, you kind of have to piggyback on the physics stuff, you know, in order to then say, you know, the interference is localized to the brain. Like, why should I think it's not rampant, you know, throughout the universe? You know, and the idea is like, there could be an ideal theory of physics which tells you this is what the physical stuff would do if there was no interference, right? But when you're making predictions, the idea is that a candidate theory could make a successful prediction, but only due to interference, right? And you would like naively confirm that, but you'd actually be confirming a theory that is not what the ideal theory says would happen, right? Yeah. So there's like a whole skeptical worry there, where it's like, until you answer, you know, how and where, and how, to what degree there is interference, you can't tell me what the theory of physics even is.
Yeah.
One second.
Oh, Jack, I did want to ask, if you're there, I did want to ask you something going back to this like private stuff or rule following stuff.
Yeah.
He's not there now. He's not there now.
Yeah. It's just discriminating against you.
I mean, basically, I wanted to ask him what he thinks is like. I like what Kripke said.
Wait, were you talking to me? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question about the rule following stuff.
Wait, let me just switch to Wi-Fi. One second. Okay. Am I connected?
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, I wondered if there, like, so, okay, I like the Kripke rules of private language stuff, rules of private, never remember if it's for. I kind of agree with everything he said there, and, like, he was pretty staunchly an anti-physicalist, but at least on my reading of him, he doesn't seem to think that this is, like, a special issue for physicalism or whatever. He thinks it's, like, it's a skeptical worry for everybody, and he ends up adopting the kind of skeptical moving to it and all this stuff. So, is there like a place that it came from originally where that was kind of like used against physicalism, or because I can't see it in the Kripke original paper book on it. So I don't know. Is there a particular person that it comes from where it gets run against it?
I'm not sure in the literature who reads Kripke that way. I seem to think there are people, but I'm not really sure who they are. I mean, Bilgrami says that rule following considerations show that there's can't be an analytic identity between the normative and the natural, something like that. But he doesn't think it shows that there couldn't be a synthetic identity. So I'm not sure who in the literature thinks it's like stronger than that, but there probably are. I seem to recall thinking there were like that I've come across, but I don't remember who they are.
Yeah, there's definitely a sympathy I have for the idea that the private language argument and the rule following argument. I mean, I think the original like Wittgenstein stuff more so than the Kripke stuff, but there's something there that I think a lot of people ignore, which is like, okay, yeah, it's almost this distinction between first personal and third personal, like concepts. I don't know. It seems like it underdetermines a lot of the stuff in Philip's mind, where like the dualist and the physicalist should kind of all agree about certain things that I don't know. It's like they pretend to disagree with them when fighting each other. Like Destroyer, I was talking to you the other day about how the idea is that dualists think that there is still this kind of causal description of the state, of the relevant mental state, where that would be third personally accessible. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with some of that. That like, I like that example with the party, where it's like you either predict that you will go to the party or you intend to. Yeah, I'm kind of partial to some ways that maybe Bill Gromley would agree with. I guess I just don't go as far as the non-naturalism, the metaphysical stuff. I probably still end up disagreeing with him on.
Yeah.
Yo, Brody. What's going on, man?
Playing chess so much.
Playing chess too much.
Yeah. I don't know.
Have you been losing a bunch?
Winning a bunch. No, thanks.
good?
Oh, it's pretty good.
Still not. I'm still not well. It's not full. I think it's 5 minutes.
Well, it's 5 minutes of bliss.
No. Yeah, I like the 5 minutes. 10 minutes.
I think it's funny that they call a 10-minute rapid. That's what I. Yeah, I go through phases with chess. Like sometimes I'll just be getting my ass kicked, and then I'll have a streak of like dominating people. Then I'll be getting my ass kicked again.
I prefer poker to chess.
Insane. We need to get a poker game going. I've actually wanted to for a while.
I was like the president of my poker society at uni.
Wait, there's gay poker? Oh, I guess.
Don't even get me
Guess
started.
it's in the name.
Don't even get me started.
No, it's poker. So it's actually
Yeah, not poke him.
not poke him.
I moved in at one point with another member of the society. It was a whole thing. You know, I was such a degenerate.
Was you?
Yeah.
No, they had pool tables at the campus center where I went to school, and I would just fuck people up in there. I would just wreck people.
Welcome up.
They were not very.
Wait, sorry. What's yours? I still hear things.
Sorry.
What's your rate? Just
21-ish, something like that. 22.
Kitover, do you recommend any like books for chess, or like what's this? How do you learn the chess theories?
Endgame, Deveretsky.
Yes, I don't know about that.
Then finding gold videos.
I mean, yeah, I guess looking at a little bit of some openings, playing along, doing puzzles, sort of thing.
Yeah, puzzles is the thing that everybody recommends that I don't do enough of. So maybe I should just play puzzles.
No,
I know. I always play the same, few openings, and that really helps me. Like I really stick to using the same openings over and over and over again.
So Hikaru had really good advice for beginners. So I have one tip for beginners. It's basically to do a lot of cabinets because it basically requires you to coordinate the pieces.
The reason I do the same stuff over and over again is because you need to learn, so you start with the opening, and then there's all the ways that opening can break apart, and it's like, I don't know, if you just do the same one over and over and over again, you learn the variations of that opening, as opposed to if you experiment a bunch, you're only gonna learn half as many of them.
I think they found it already on the 6th.
That's what I thought. I read it was 6.
Okay, and that's the one you need to find.
It's new growth possible. But the happy ending is never guaranteed. The trickster can be regenerative or ruinous. Coyote brings fire. Raven brings the sun. Loki brings Armageddon. Hyde's argument is that tricksters are for cultures, both necessary and dangerous. They represent a tension every culture has to grapple with. Because a culture, a society that cannot meet disruption and change with creativity, cannot survive change. A culture that cannot protect its core values, however, will eventually be consumed by corruption. We are living in an age of chaos. We are living in an age of tricksters. Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes and Bronze Age pervert. The grammar of the modern right is tricksy. What is serious and what is not?
The chainsaw for bureaucracy.
I was one of the OG nut jobs.
Why did they say that? And how did they get away with it? The dominant personalities of the age have gathered power by bulldozing customs and taboos. by saying what cannot be said.
Why is it we only take people from shithole countries?
By doing what should not be done. Hyde said that Americans love a trickster. They love a con man because he embodies things that are actually true about America but cannot be openly declared. That may have been true in 1998 when Hyde wrote his book. I can see the argument that American institutions and American culture had ossified in some ways in the years since, that our society become too rule-bound and bureaucratized, that too much had become unsayable, that there's too little openness to real transgression and invention. But today, there's little that can no longer be said. The ideas and morals upon which the best of our culture was built have been more than disrupted, they've been desecrated. The question now is whether that disruption can be met with creativity and renewal, or whether it'll simply bring us ruin. This is the central question of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Nolan's Odyssey hinges on Zeus's law. Treat the beggar and the stranger as you would want to be treated. But as a horde of classicists have now pointed out, that is not Zeus's law, at least not in antiquity. Zeus's law is narrower. It's more a demand for hospitality towards the guest or the stranger, with the admonition that there could be punishment because anybody could be a god in disguise. It's not a law of compassion, not of reciprocity. And so here we find Nolan's central trick. Nolan has smuggled the core of Judeo-Christian ethics into the center of the Odyssey. Zeus's law in Nolan's Odyssey echoes Leviticus 19:34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. Notice that, love them as yourself. It echoes Rabbi Hillel, who said, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. It echoes Matthew 7:12, when Jesus says, in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. Such an ethic is demanding. Few of us truly live up to it. But the problem with the modern right is not that they don't live up to it. It's that they detest it. To treat the foreigner residing among us as well as we treat our native born, to love them, is derided as suicidal empathy. The Trump administration glorifies cruelty towards the immigrant, towards a stranger, towards the weak, the poor. It takes money from Medicaid to cut taxes for the rich. It threatens the destruction of whole civilizations.
Quote, never to be brought back.
It is built on the logic of tribute, not compassion or love or even reciprocity. Stephen Miller put it perfectly to CNN's Jake Tapper.
We live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world.
But are you saying
since the beginning of time?
But wasn't the iron law replaced by the golden rule? Isn't that at the heart of what we believe has led our society to progress, to become something better and grander than what preceded it? When Odysseus concocts the trick of the Trojan horse, when he takes advantage of Troy's veneration of the same gods he worships, takes advantage of the commonality between them to sack the city, to make its streets run with blood, to burn it to the ground. Is he a hero or a villain? Was that a trick or a crime? To Homer, he was a hero. To Nolan, he is a soul in need of redemption. Between Homer's time and our own came a revolution in civilizational values, an upending of what it means to be civilized. We have human rights law. We have laws governing war. They did not. Which side of that divide are we on now? The modern right believes that Western civilization has lost the appetite for strength and dominance and hierarchy, and I would say cruelty, that built it in the first place. There's a reason a theorist named Bronze Age pervert, of all things, became required reading for young Trumpists. A reason right-wing intellectuals like Curtis Yarvin and Michael Anton muse about the need for an American Caesar. A reason the Trump administration is obsessed with Roman-style architecture. They are circling this era for a reason. A recent exchange Elon Musk had on X reveals how far this thinking has gone. A user told Musk it was time to wise up, to abandon liberalism, because universal suffrage leads to universal suffering. Musk's reply, I have wised up. Helen of Troy in Nolan's Odyssey is not the reason for the war. She's an excuse for a war launched to dominate routes of trade. It's a telling choice amidst an administration that is crashing into the global trading order because it seeks more dominance over its flows. When Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, released his cry of protest at Davos against this regime, he also reached back to an older age to describe what he saw happening.
The strong can do what they can, and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself.
Is this the way you build a prosperous, strong, secure world? When Nolan's Odysseus recalls the sacking of Troy, he blanches at the memory of 10 years of rage and fury pouring into a city in a single night. Sitting in that theater, I found it hard not to think of the built-up rage that Hamas poured into Israel on October 7th, and that Israel has poured into Gaza 100-fold since. Benjamin Netanyahu has described Israel's future as Athens and Super Sparta. Athens and Super Sparta. You all know Harari, the Israeli-born historian who wrote *Sapiens*, sees the irony of this clearly.
Rome has its usefulness, but if after 2,000 years the Jews simply become the Romans, what was the point? Why did you waste 2,000 years then? You could have just become Roman back then.
And this, I think, is Nolan's finest trick. To make one of our oldest moral rules so new again. To turn the best of Judeo-Christianity into the law of Zeus, so we can see why it might matter, what it might still have to say to us. What Odysseus sees eventually is that his violations of the moral order have brought ruin to all around him. Agamemnon, the king who launched the war against Troy, is dead, his throat slit by his wife, who never forgave him for sacrificing their daughter for fair winds. Troy is destroyed. Ithaca, Odysseus' beloved home, is overrun by suitors who seek his wife and his land and think nothing of murdering his son to get it. Odysseus and his men were not fighting the barbarians, they were the barbarians, and their actions led to more barbarity. So too has the political movement in our time that rose promising to make Western civilization great again, America great again, betrayed its inheritance.
You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
The world looks at America now and sees us as the barbarians. We are the country obliterating the global order. We are the country that takes what we want and demands tribute from those without the strength to resist. And what the political opposition has to do now is to recognize what Nolan recognized, that it is actually an affirmation of our core values to say cruelty is weakness. It is only compassion and reciprocity that can build a durable and decent society. Order is necessary, but order without ethics and decency is perversion or authoritarianism. There is so much beauty and wisdom in the injunction to avoid inflicting on others what we would not see turned against us, in remembering that we were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Oh, isn't that nice?
At the end of his book,
Isn't that
Hyde
nice?
considers when does a
I didn't hear
trickster's
nothing about truth. I
and when
didn't
does
hear
it
nothing
end?
about peace.
And his answer is when you cannot rejoin the worlds.
Let's just give
Loki
him
is
a
bound
pass.
beneath the earth.
Let's
Poison
just give
dripped
him
on him for
another
eternity.
pass.
And eventually Armageddon is a result. Ruin. Hermes, in Greek mythology,
Here we go.
becomes the connector between our world and the underworld. He is the one who guides Persephone in spring to return each year. It is only when severed worlds can be bonded that cultures can rediscover their strength. I don't want to make this too didactic here at the end, so I'll just say this. Justice and progress in America have come repeatedly when those seeking it realize that the language of the Torah, of the Bible, and of the Declaration of Independence can be wielded on behalf of a better world, that they are agents for change, not for the status quo. I would say it has been some time since religion and liberalism and patriotism had a comfortable relationship in this country, since they were tightly bonded. But the shape of the modern right has created space to do that work again. Regeneration is hard. It requires seeing old values in new ways. It requires recognizing that a moral inheritance that is collapsed into cliche can still hold power in an age when it has been debased and forgotten. Nolan's Odysseus is not a trickster. He's a man living in the ruins brought about by tricksters. So too are we. This movie, the hunger for it, I think is a sign that the age of the trickster is ending. That is not
really?
what we need now. Now we need those who would remake.
It's ending. It's all over. There's never gonna be no more tricksters. Nice musician. Nice
There you go,
music.
Little Ezra Klein with some dramatic music. Yeah, that's the op-ed that I guess they transcribed it from the video. But there you go, Normo, and there's the piece.
Very nice guy.
Well, I don't even know if it was a good try. I mean, I didn't even like the music, to be honest.
You don't think that his critique of I felt like his critique, especially of like why how you could compare that to like modern day. I know he mentioned like Michael Anton. Who's that other guy? Bronze Age.
Can't even get a statement out that's coherent.
I mean, when you're talking about like the golden rule and I guess when you try to compare that to Christianity, if you look at like what our Pope says, for example, it
can't even make one sentence.
You know, a lot of the rhetoric that a lot of these people would have, like
the Pope was against war, and I think that's his job. He's the Pope.
No, well, okay, so for example, to be cruel or to mistreat foreigners, for example, the Pope is totally against that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
you guys are great candidates to speak for the Pope. Please continue.
Well, so I mean, he has some insight into it.
I mean, I have beliefs that go against the Catholic Church, but it's pretty clear that the stances that a lot of people would that hold, and of course he brought up, many of them were Jewish. Who is that? Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller.
I think he's a non-Jewish Jew, though.
I don't. Well, in other words, I want to hold them to a Christian standard if they're not Christians. The only reason I bring it up.
But Pepe, I think that the trick of what I see as a trick, and I put in the chat, like this is such a bland Protestant take, right?
Yes,
and
bland. I agree.
It always comes from people on the left who want to seem as though they understand or have certain, Ezra Klein, I'm not saying that I've ever heard him say it. It's a type of thing that he's trying to get across, which a lot of people on the far left do. I would be a Christian if the Christians were actually as good as, but the Christians aren't good enough Christians for me to throw my slot into them, right? And they turn Christianity into this bland. It's like a single drop of milk in a glass of water. It just acquiesces and turns into nothing, right? It's just this bland horse shit, okay? And, mentioning justice without categorizing what justice is, which, by the way, comes from Greek and Roman philosophy and then is transmitted to the Catholic Church, right? There's other ones, but if we're talking about Christianity, Protestant or otherwise, all of that comes through Roman law, Roman ethics, Roman justice. And it's just fucking so, gay.
But do you think the Roman Catholic Church would, like, of all of the names he mentioned that are influential on the right, I think they would think that what they're doing is rather unchristian and sinful and harmful.
I mean, in fairness to Klein, he wasn't just mentioning Christianity; he was mentioning Judaism, which is a Jew. The basic point is, or at least one of his more powerful references.
Native American religion too, and African religion.
One of his most powerful references to Judaism was the decimation of Rome against the Jews, and what that did to the Jewish people as far as kind of seeking out about what it means to be a small minority and persecuted. And the point that if we become Roman after this, I think that directly relates to his Jewish character, not to the Christian element. I mean, I kind of agree with the basic point that I think the U.S. is kind of turning away from cruelty as the point of politics, and I think we're going to see that. I would predict somebody like John Alsig. I would predict somebody like John Alsig or somebody like that that kind of speaks messages of that.
I'm not saying that you're not topics, but I feel like it's a little cheap, it's a little just format. Because they're, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? Like that, there's a many lines of promise of correction. Like the term that we have coined nowadays is suicidal identity, right? You being a Christian does not mean that you have to raise your children in peaceful class. You being a Jew does not mean that you have to permit your children to just indulge in whatever they feel. That's like I said, that single drop of milk that just completely dissipates into a gallon of water. Just any complete straw man of Christianity that the progressive, the moderate left just let it go. That's what we try to do. And I think the first thing is straight.
He's trying to project his values onto himself, and I think the attempt to project his leftist values onto himself is a big fail.
So like with the whole, maybe it's like Jesus doesn't like his values being projected into politics. Perhaps he said, render to Caesar that which is Caesar's, but for the sake of the culture and conversation, what really do you think that the Bible typically has been presented? Right, exactly. So, really, is really actually not common. How do you accept your faith? To bring too much with Christianity. I will say, like, people like Martin
We keep saying that we're all online, that it's common for people who are not Christians and not on the right to try to hold Christian people on the right to their own standard by using the Bible. And for instance, they'll say things such as, if you were really a Christian, would be at the border with blankets instead of armor. That's common, right? You disagree on that?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been fascinated with this phenomenon of just different topics and compassion and relationships. It does get a little bit dissonant. It's a dissonant on both sides. Christian values, but I think that's the nature of politics in general. Like I've seen those kinds. I get that politics is not nature of power and authority, but like if we're gonna be talking about Christianity, compassion and heart and love,
instead of like looking at religion, you could just look at what is the most loving.
Yes, put in
No, we're specifically looking at religion.
Like, let me just. I don't want to lose this. One second, guys. I don't want to lose this thread for 1 second. 1 second. I just want to say, let's not make this about. Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Let's not make this about Ezra Kleин's politics. We can, of course. But I think the thing that I think is the point of. I mean, one of the reasons Marshall I this. His notion, I think he's absolutely right, that Odysseus is the trickster in Homer, and he's not in Nolan, right? He's in Nolan, he's a soul that needs redemption. In Homer, he's not, right? So I mean, I think there is, and again, there's some of the Ben Shapiro see, some of the others on the right and the left see, that there is a Christianizing of the epic, which you can like or not like, right? I mean, that's fine. I mean, you can make an argument that it doesn't do Homer justice. You can say this is what it means to bring Homer to bear in late modern society. But I don't think he's wrong there, right? I think that there is a moralizing in Nolan's work here that is in tension with the original work he's reimagined.
I was kind of looking for the word. I guess he was criticizing people on the right who I'd say, if I would broadly put them in a category, they're much more like Nietzschean. As to Christian.
Oh,
I think
Nietzsche now.
I thought his critique was really fair about, at least when it came to the right.
About what? Oh, when it came to the right, huh? Okay,
Well, I mean, when it comes to the movie, it's also, Klein has a piece of what was the actor of both Benz and Nolan, but I don't think it would have sold as many tickets if he kept to pagan themes. And, making a movie that is relatable to cultural themes is probably also just a sheer good economic decision.
Yeah, it's a movie, right?
Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah, right.
I mean, pagan themes would be you keep to the original book in which Odysseus was a trickster. He wasn't in self-doubt. He fucked a lot of goddesses. He didn't really care. Like that is.
In other words, he was human and resourceful as a warrior.
Yeah. But Norm Klein's point
That's not the movie.
Yeah, but also Klein's point would be, we would not. Well, I think, I would agree with this. What we would conceive as normative for human behavior in light of the Torah, in light of the New Testament, in light of the appropriation which Mike said, comes through, conceptions of justice that come to us through Greco-Roman philosophy. So we would say that these things are an advance on what Odysseus, on the kind of humanity he embodies, right? That there's an advance in civilization that would make being human in Odysseus' way now a regression.
Well, I think that's personally agree. It's a no-brainer. He's almost an abject lesson. I mean, Greek tales often boil down to one word, hubris, and that certainly applies here. And I think it's good that Nolan avoided what everybody has always said about Greek tales, which is people who soar too close to the sun. But what I was saying before is that I think his attempt to project his leftist or slightly leftist values onto the Christopher Nolanism and to open with mention of Elon Musk. It's just ridiculous.
I think the
premise is ridiculous.
I think the first let's think that talk about interjecting this politics. I think, in the same sense that tortilla is fans to about salsa, like Ezra Klein used this movie as a fan service of politics. To talk about his politics and really agree with them. And, in that state that without saying what justice is, right?
Well, yeah, you're kind of Mike, because it's enough edginess to refute, not even 1,000 words. But,
Yeah,
it's not in a dissertation, you couldn't do that, right? If I was doing a treatise on ethics,
He got your ass, faggot! He got your ass, faggot!
Justices, I mean, you could say Plato on justice, right?
Plato has no business in the minor rules.
I'm just saying that's one.
Oh my God, this is beautiful.
Isn't
This was beautiful.
justice.
What?
Homer, like the
Nobody cares about Homer.
stuff, right? What do you mean? Okay, sure.
Okay, we're literally talking about Homer.
Socrates.
Homer said,
I'm such a worthless human being.
unseen about the government's body, but it brought us here. These death, all things seem fair, right? That is the old, what is being called the old pagan form of justice.
That's right.
Say, is also the old Roman form of justice, right? The Romans were bringing that back, and it is an important admixture. He's talking about uniting the trickster with the old. That's what we've done. That's what Christianity has done. Okay? And so the new conception of justice from a particularly a Catholic point of view, but from a Christian point of view, is that justice is when if you have the ability to do good things for the goodness in someone else, you have a moral responsibility to do that. And that fact is why it is immoral to give a homeless person alcohol, but it is moral to give them a bed or shoes or food. Any of us recognize if you don't, you should look yourself in the mirror and start thinking about morality, because helping the ills, the vices of a person is the opposite of justice. Helping the virtues of a person, that is justice. But the left wants to get on every fucking social media app. If you don't let the kids eat ice cream, you're not Christian. If you don't let your fucking grandma throw herself off the bridge, you're not Christian. Your grandma wants to throw herself off. You don't let us kill kids.
Well, be nice.
You're not a Christian.
But there is, you get, like, look, obviously if we start talking about abortion, which the Catholics would, I can only guess what Ezra Klein's answer would be, what else? Who knows? But he's not going to have the religious tuned in. He's probably going to, then kind of have a say, oh, well, that's kind of oppressive that the church wants to impose these kinds of rules, like banning abortion, that kind of shit. So I obviously he has a strong bias, that. But I still, I do think that it's a lot of what we see on the right today. They're not. Despite them even saying they're Christian and how Christian they are and how important Christianity is, I think most of them are kind of full of shit. To be honest with you, just as I've always known the kids I grew up with that they're still religious to this day. They just don't. They just don't. I don't see that. I don't see them ever proposing the kinds of things they will propose, and I don't know. It's what the fuck is Christian about Trump?
Well, it is a lot of straw manning of a case Klein didn't make, and ignoring the quotes from people like Stephen Miller of the case that
Stephen Miller
of the case that this administration did make, because the case that this administration is making is more of the older case of might makes right, and the weak must suffer what they must.
Yeah,
which is fair, but I also don't think it's a little intellectually dishonest to say, well, he didn't fully define what justice is. He didn't. And we have all these left people saying, you must give your child ice cream.
But Stephen Miller
you have all these left people saying you must feed your child ice cream to be a good
Christian, I can say that's kind of a bullshit argument. Right?
Okay, but if you look at Stephen Miller, he is a white nationalist. He is like, I would say probably Nietzschean's, you know, his buddy who
Yeah, Stephen Miller is definitely a white nationalist. I agree with that.
and you know, I've talked to his buddy that they went to Duke together.
You talked to his buddy?
Richard Spencer. He was the leader of the alt-right back in 2010.
He was the leader!
From too. I hear their rhetoric, the rhetoric of a lot of people, he named them by name. They are obviously, I would say not, they're not what I would consider religious. They are might-based, right? They do value things that you know, you really probably shouldn't as a Christian. And it's I don't know, it's I'm trying to think how to put this. It's not too disconnected from even, let's say, Nazism in a way.
Really?
And I'm talking about like the fundamental beliefs under, you know, the
fundamental beliefs. What are those fundamental beliefs, PP? Hello? Hello? Good one, PP. Oh man, what a great Sunday night. So informative. Such great analysis. Hello? Hello?
So just pure cinema and having fun or not having fun, enjoying entertainment. For those who have seen The Odyssey, what's like out of 10 would be Has anyone seen The Odyssey?
Yes.
Of course
I loved it. I thought it was an amazing story.
It was an amazing
What about the film?
It was an amazing story.
Marshall, the film.
Hello?
Oh, what about it?
Like what film?
Oh, I liked it.
It was an amazing story.
I liked it a lot. I'm one of those people who like does it like the fact that there were black people in an Indian prison just doesn't bother me. Like, okay, great, like they're stand-ins for the people who would have originally done it. You know, I'm not all that bothered by it. Right, it's Americans producing a movie about something that's Greek and European. Right, like you're obviously going to get an American perspective when you produce it.
Norm, what did you think of it? Did you see The Odyssey? Did you like it?
Oh, well, of course I loved it. It's like, I would say it's almost impossible not to love it. I also thought the first 90 minutes were virtually unwatchable. And I was like, get me out of here. And then, when it came to the homecoming, which is really, I think, the emotional center of the film, I loved it. I loved it. Anne Hathaway, I thought Pattinson was adequate. I could not see the relevance of much of the other stuff, but the adventures were poorly represented. I thought the giant thing, where I guess was meant to be Nolan-esque action, I somehow it didn't work. There were way too many scenes of him just floating on the waves, and like enough already. I get it. He was at sea for 10 years, but we don't have to see 10 years of shots of him on the sea. But I think Damon is a terrific actor. I think this was his best role. I think he'll get best actor for this. I don't think Nolan will get best picture, but you know, the year is young. We'll see. Hathaway's amazing. Is it Leguizamo who played the mentor? Does anybody remember who played the mentor?
Yeah. The old guy, that's blind. Yeah. He was. I thought
that was John Leguizamo. He was great.
He really was.
Holy cow, he was great. My old teacher from school played the Cyclops, and I was really looking forward to Cyclops and Giants, and I didn't think they were very good at all. They were more like attempts or something. This guy got a MacArthur grant, by the way. Bill Irwin got a Genius grant. I mean, Nolan is amazing. He's an amazing filmmaker. I think this was maybe 1/3 of a success and 2/3 of a fail. But I still loved it. I mean, I loved going. I loved the event. I love the fact that we're still talking about it. I love the fact that it sold a lot of tickets.
But I love Spider-Man as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's doing very well at the box office as well, and I'm surprised this one's making more than Oppenheimer. I didn't expect that, but it's a little past Oppenheimer.
Look at it as tickets. Plus, there is the event aspect of it, which people are looking for, right? Oppenheimer is still coming out of the pandemic. It was the movie that got us out of our homes and into the theater. And this is like, you've got to see it 70 millimeter. Not that I have it. I saw it on a conventional screen. But, I mean, it's a must see, right?
Yeah.
Do you like films as much as you like politics, or not really?
No, I love films more than I
Wow.
like politics. Yeah.
You have some good taste. You should connect with Roy. I wish he kept calling you Canada or something, but she really liked hearing your stuff.
Yeah, I thought I just a lot of this film screamed. I saw a lot of Kurosawa in it, and I liked it, and I liked how the minimalism. It was clean and minimal and aesthetic. I came to appreciate the space.
Refuse to do digital.
He spent a bunch of money, use practical effects.
Money is easy.
I didn't think that the settings were obviously the actual rooms, and they look like rooms.
Fucking retarded.
Contemporary settings. Look, I can, yeah. I mean, I don't want.
That's because they actually filmed in Greece.
I understand that, but they were obviously ruined. So.
But nobody cares about the Odyssey, right? The Odyssey. Yes, we do. That's David. That's what we're talking about.
We do care.
If you would like to be in the conversation, great. If you just want to listen, that's also great. Yeah, but with all due respect, we're not doing this. What's up,
dude? With utmost no respect to you, David.
How dare you?
You can suck a fat chode, dude.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. Wait, Marshall, that's not funny. That's not funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious, bro. That's really funny.
I feel like I was being bullied. I'm being bullied.
No, you're drunk and you're talking on the mic.
He should apologize. He should apologize.
David, you're drunk. I can tell.
He left. Well, I accept this apology.
We're talking about the Odyssey. You're tanked, and it's okay.
Well, I think the Odyssey is, I don't understand the appeal.
Now I want to watch it just to see what all the hype's about. I'm more curious now.
Yeah, but I think it's like it's whatever. I don't understand the appeal.
What is all the hype about? What's all the hype about?
I'm just curious. Adam, are you from Europe?
No, Adam is our great neighbor to the north.
Oh, I thought you said he was a European citizen.
No, half European.
Docs.
That's cool.
Why is it cool?
Because half European, so it's good to matter.
It doesn't matter whether I'm not from Europe.
Why'd you say it's cool?
I mean, it's cool.
That's the thing you say after somebody tells you where they're from. Oh, that's really cool. I wonder if there are any cool stories from there.
Like, I've never met somebody from like Papua New Guinea or
Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, David. It's kind of cool to meet someone from there since I haven't. A lot of things.
So for this debate and for this topic, I'm saying yes, this means that Cypher, he's going to have to argue that the nuclear program wasn't a major cause of the war. he's going to have to argue why preventing Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons did not become such a central justification for war and military actions that we've done.
Thy glance to rapture's darkling root,
Discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this consciousness.
pierced to the heart, I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere, thy radiance that rolls afar. O brother of the silver star. Crowley.
There is one light of the sun, though it is distributed over walls, mountains, and other things infinite there. There is one common substance, though it is distributed among countless bodies which have their several qualities. There is one soul, though it is distributed among infinite natures and circumspections. There is one intelligent soul, though it seems to be divided now in the things which have been mentioned, all the other parts, such as those which are air and substance, are without sensation and have no fellowship. And yet even these parts the intelligent principle holds together and the gravitate to him towards the same. But intellect in a peculiar manner tends to that which is of the same kin and combines with it, and the feeling for communion is not interrupted. Man, thou hast been a citizen in this great state. What difference does it make to thee whether for 5 years? For that which is conformable to the laws is just for all. Where is the hardship then, if no tyrant nor yet an unjust judge sends thee away from the state, but nature who brought thee into it, the same as if a praetor who has employed an actor dismisses him from the stage. But I have not finished the 5 acts, but only 3 of them. Thou sayest well, but in life the 3 acts of a whole drama, for what shall be a complete drama is the time wagon, who was once the cause of its composition and now of its dissolution. But thou art the cause of neither the part that's satisfied, for he also who releases thee is satisfied. Citerum, the Socratic, think of either Eutyches or Hymen. And when thou hast seen Euphrates, think of Eutychian or Sylvanus. And when thou hast seen Alciphron, think of Tropaeophorus. And when thou hast seen Xenophon, think of Crito or Severus. And when thou hast looked on thyself, think of any other Caesar. And in the case of every one doing like murder, then let this thought be in thy mind. Where then are those men? Nowhere or nobody knows where, for thus continuously thou wilt look at human things as smoke and nothing at all, especially
especially if thou reflectest at the same time that what has once changed will never exist again in the infinite duration of time. But thou, in what a brief space of time is thy existence, and why art thou not content to pass through this short time in an orderly way? What matter and opportunity for thy activity art thou avoiding? For what else are all these things except exercises for the reason, when it has viewed carefully and by examination into their nature the things which happen in life? Persevere then until thou shalt have made these things thy own, as the stomach which is strengthened makes all things its own, as the blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs enhance, hour after hour thy vigilance, intense and keen, turned inward miss no atom of analysis. Sixth, on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like the flame, straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy, prolong thy meditation, steep and strong. Slaying even God, should he distract thy attention from the chosen end. Blast all these things in one o'erpowered time that the midnight blossom flowered. The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling root, discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Pierce to the heart, I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rules afar, O brother of the silver star. Pray!
There is one light of the sun, though it is distributed. over walls, mountains, and other things, infinite there, is one common substance, though it is distributed among countless bodies which have their several qualities. There is one soul, though it is distributed among infinite natures and circumspections. There is one intelligent soul, though it seems to be divided now in the things which have been mentioned, all the other parts, such as those which are air and substance, are without sensation and have no fellowship. And yet even these parts the intelligent principle holds together and the gravitating towards the same. But intellect in a peculiar manner tends to that which is of the same kin and combines with it, and the feeling for communion is not interrupted. Man, thou hast been a citizen in this great state. What difference does it make to thee whether for 5 years? For that which is conformable to the laws is just for all. Where is the hardship then? If no tyrant nor yet an unjust judge sends thee away from the state, but nature who brought thee into it, the same as if a praetor who has employed an actor dismisses him from the stage. But I have not finished the 5 acts, but only 3 of them. Thou sayest well, but in life the 3 acts are the whole drama. For what shall be a complete drama is determined by him who was once the cause of its composition, and now of its dissolution. But thou art the cause of neither depart then satisfied. For he also who releases thee is satisfied. When thou hast seen Satyr the Socratic, think of either Eutyches or Hymen. And when thou hast seen Euphrates, think of Eutychian or Silvanus. And when thou hast seen Alcaphron, think of Tropaeophorus. And when thou hast seen Xenophon, think of Crito or Severus. And when thou hast looked on thyself, think of any other Caesar, and in the case of everyone do in like manner. Then let this thought be in thy mind. Where then are those men? Nowhere, or nobody knows where, for thus continuously thou wilt look at human things as smoke and nothing at all, especially if thou reflectest at the same time that what has once changed will never exist again in the infinite duration of time. But thou, in what a brief space of time is thy existence? And why art thou not content to pass through this short time in an orderly way? What matter and opportunity for thy activity art thou avoiding? For what else are all these things except exercises for the reason? When it has viewed carefully and by examination into their nature the things which happen in life. Persevere, then, until thou shalt have made these things thy own, as the stomach which is strength and makes all things its own, as the blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is true. keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Thoughts written thus thou mayst abort the fitted babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow, so that thy being be in tune with the great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, sway softly as a windless palm. Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound. Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity. Watch every thought that springs in hands, hour after hour thy vigilance. And tense and keen turned inward miss, no atom of analysis. 6 on one thought securely pinned, still every whisper of the wind. So like a flame straight and unstirred, burn up thy being in one word. Next, still that ecstasy prolong, thy meditation steep and strong, slaying even God should he distract thy attention from the chosen act. Grasp all these things in one o'erpowered time that the midnight blossom flowered. The oneness is yet even in this, my son, thou shalt not do amiss. If thou restrain the expression, shoot thy glance to rapture's darkling mood. Discarding name, form, sight, and stress, even of this high consciousness. Yes, to the heart I leave thee here. Thou art the master I revere. Thy radiance that rose afar, O brother of the silver star. Ready?
and other things infinity. There is one common substance, though it is distributed among countless bodies which have their several qualities. There is one soul, though it is distributed among infinite natures and circumspections. There is one intelligent soul, though it seems to be divided now in the things which have been mentioned, all the other parts, such as those which are air and substance, are without sensation and have no fellowship. And yet even these parts, the intelligent principle holds together, and the gravitation towards the same, but intellect in a peculiar manner tends to that which is of the same kin and combines with. And the feeling for communion is not interactive. Thou hast been a citizen in this great state. What difference does it make to thee whether for 5 years or 3? For that which is conformable to the laws is just for all. Where is the hardship then? If no tyrant nor yet an unjust judge sends thee away from the state, but nature who brought thee into it, the same as if a praetor who has employed an actor dismisses him from the stage. But I have not finished the 5 acts, but only 3 of them. Thou sayest well, but in life the 3 acts are the whole drama. For what shall be a complete drama is determined by him who was once the cause of its composition, and now of its dissolution. But thou art the cause of neither depart and satisfied, for he also who releases thee is satisfied. See Saturn, the Socratic think of either Eutyches or Hymen. And when thou hast seen Euphrates, think of Eutyche or Sylvanus. And when thou hast seen Alpithron, think of Trobaiophorus. And when thou hast seen Xenophon, think of Crito. And when thou hast looked on thyself, think of any other Caesar. And in the case of everyone, do in like manner. Then let this thought be in thy mind. Where then are those men? Nowhere, or nobody knows where, for thus continuously thou wilt look at human things as smoke and nothing at all, especially if thou reflectest at the same time that what has once changed will never exist again in the infinite duration of time. But thou, in what a brief space of time, is thy existence. And why art thou not content to pass through this short time in an orderly way? What matter and opportunity for thy activity art thou avoiding? For what else are all these things except exercises for the reason, when it has viewed carefully and by examination into their nature the things which happen in life? Persevere then, until thou shalt have made these things thy own. As the stomach which is strengthened makes all things its own, as the blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it.
There are 7 keys to the great gate, being 8 in 1 and 1 in 8. First, let the body of thee be still, bound by the cerements of will. Corpse rigid, thus thou mayst abort the fidget babes that tease the thought. Next, let the breath rhythm be low, easy, regular, and slow.
So that thy being be in tune with a great sea's Pacific swoon. Third, let thy life be pure and calm, swayed softly as a windless palm.
Fourth, let the will to live be bound to the one love of the profound.
Fifth, let the thought divinely free from sense observe its entity.
Watch every thought that springs, enhance
Hour after hour thy vigilance.
intense and keen, turned inwardness, no atom of analysis. 6 on one thought securely pinned.
Well, I wouldn't say I watched it, but I followed it.
The Patriot. Fucking love piece of it.
Did you see when his lawyer put the Randy, the cop, the Sheriff Randy, on the stand, and then Randy's ex-wife on the stand, and his lawyer, in the most comedic way possible, put on an absolute clinic on how to deal with bullshit allegations, and it was funny as hell, man.
Wait, so I don't know about why did he have a trial? What did he do?
So I think it was one of Afro Man's, like his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or something, basically called the police and had them investigate him for human trafficking and or drug trafficking. And so in the middle of the night, one night, Afro Man's not home. The police break into his house, commit some property damage in the process, take $4,000 or so worth of cash, and they decide to feast on some of his baked goods, right? Anyways, they didn't find any drugs, they didn't find any people. He sues the police department for the $4,000 that they took, and they give, or at least he requested it back, and they gave most of it back, but they shorted him, according to his testimony, $400. So he sues them for the $400, and in the process starts putting out a bunch of videos about the police department and how corrupt it is, and how one of the cops, his ex-wife, divorced him because she found out that he was at the center of a big old kerfuffle in another police department. He would get called to drug scenes where like people were like on meth or crack and whatnot, and he would show up to these like cheap budgeted hotels, motels, and things like that, and he would literally fuck the crackheads and meth heads just for the sake of like not arresting them. That was like his little way of getting some extra pussy. He would fuck crackheads and then not arrest them. And his brother is actually I don't know if he's definitely guilty or just alleged sex offender, child trafficker or some shit. I don't know. The whole fucking case is crazy. I gotta go look up on it more because I'm blurry on the details at this point, but it's just an incredible case. An Afro Man putting out songs the whole time, dealing with the police and expressing his First Amendment freedom of speech, and then dealing with all the bullshit allegations of slander and shit like that. It's just epic.
That's awful.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm not really into Afroman, but I know that Joe is, and he thinks that his lyrics are really clever.
Oh yeah, Colt 45 is just a legendary song.
Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, baby, that's all we need. I don't smoke weed though.
There was a country artist that redid Colt 45 recently. You would like that one, Ed.
Who redid it?
Let me double check. I think